so that the Torah is riddled with these empty spaces or holes where deception can be slipped in. It's way too easy. God does not write a book like that until he sends them into captivity and doesn't even put a date on it. He says, when my anger is complete, then I'll come and rescue you and save you. And you can't hear a word from him since then. All we have are old words. We don't have no fresh, dynamic word coming from God. None. For a couple thousand years, looks like he checked out. All right, everyone, I've got another lesson here for my New Testament is Fake series. This lesson is titled, What Are You Worth? And I'm taking a look here at the sacrifices again to show what I'm seeing in the scriptures. You know, I read from when I was a child in the book of Ecclesiastes that because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. And that's what I'm seeking to do. I want to share something again because I think people need to hear things a lot. If you think of the deception in the earth, like someone said, all one needs to do to pass a new idea, like even if it's wrong, is just to shout it loud from like a rooftop or something like that, and keep saying it over and over, repeat it over and over. And so you find false teachers, as the scriptures tell you about, like in the Torah as well as in the New Testament. They were fighting with false teachers and false prophets, and they kept teaching all the time. And if you look at the people who are teaching Hebrew Israelites, who many are crying out against and saying that they're bringing false doctrine and so on, they're teaching all the time. So anyone who believes that they are trying to show a better way, or at least just simply point out the errors, they should be teaching all the time as well, to make sure people hear it and understand it. Because sometimes you don't reach understanding the first time you hear something, but if you are exposed to the topic in a different kind of way, and another different kind of way, and a different kind of way, eventually it starts to come home to you. And so that's why I'm doing this, teaching it repeatedly so you can hear it from different angles. I want to talk about the sacrifices today, as I talk about what you're worth. Now I want to start out here from this encyclopedia, the Nuttall Encyclopedia. It's funny, I hardly use this. I didn't like it, but I guess I just got to reading it again lately. It's a Nuttall Encyclopedia of Universal Information. Deals with history, biography, literature, philosophy, general references, theology, geography, commerce, science, and art. Edited by the Reverend James Wood. And I want to look here on page 562 on the word sacrifice. It says, sacrifice, anything of value given away to secure the possession of something of still higher value, and which is the greater and more meritorious, the costlier the gift. So I think what that's saying is a sacrifice is about giving up something that you count as valuable to you to attain something that's more valuable. And the greater the value of the thing you want is the greater value you give of what you have. Now I thought about, like, if you do some kind of error with someone, like let's say you made a mistake with someone or you broke something from them or so, they come over, you're at their house or they come to visit you, you break something accidentally, and you're trying to make it up to them, or you offended them in some way, just even by mistake, and you're trying to give them you're trying to show them that you're very sorry. You might give them your apology and they say, it's okay, it's all right, I understand. and then you try to offer them something, and they're like, no, it's okay, sorry is enough, or like if they did something for you and you try to thank them, but it was a big thing they did for you and you're really grateful, like you couldn't have done it on your own, and they're leaving the house and you're still pushing more stuff on them and you're trying to give them extra food and you're packaging the food and putting in the bag, and they're like, no, it's okay, you gave me already, and they're like, oh. And then you're trying to give them, hey, here's 2 tickets here for that game. I wasn't able to go, but if you and someone can go, and you're like, well, it's okay, I mean, you already said thanks, you gave me enough stuff already, it's it's not a big deal, I mean, thanks is enough. And like, yeah, but I just didn't want to take advantage of you. And they're trying to get out the door, and you're still, the next day you see them or the end of the weekend, you're still trying to offer them apology. You're giving them something else, and you're buying them a drink or whatever, and you're treating them to something because whatever they did, it was so big for you. You really appreciate it, and it's like you're overdoing it, someone would say. But you don't feel you're overdoing it. It's just the measurement that you're making. Catch that word, measurement. You're measuring it up, and you're trying to express to them some kind of thankfulness and gratitude that is as strong as what they gave to you, or you're trying to give the strongest whatever that you can offer to tell them your gratitude, to communicate that with them, and they're like, oh, it's okay. So you're just giving great value back to them. Now, when you think of the sacrifices in the scriptures, as I've read so many times from the scriptures in the Torah, like in Leviticus and so on, telling you to offer a bull or, a lamb. You can even offer like what we would call today like a bag of flour, something like that, or a turtle dove. I'm asking the question to you, what are you worth? You can go overboard for someone who has done something that even other people in the room might have been saying to themselves. They don't want to embarrass you or anything or jump on you, but to themselves they're saying, okay, stop now, because the person got the message that you're really thankful and blah, blah, blah. But you just keep doing it over and over. You think that's the person is worth so much and based on what they did. But here, you have just offended God. Whether you're in the Christian church or the Torah, Hebrew Israelite movement, you are trying to make sure the God of Israel doesn't cut you off, or in the Christian way, send you to hell and so on. So you're trying to show your gratitude. What are you going to give him for that? To stop you from hell in the Christian thinking for all eternity, according to what Christians taught me from as a child, and to stop you from being cut off permanently from the congregation of Israel, if you're an Old Testament Torah believer, what can you possibly give that will make the Creator reverse all of that and make him feel good enough so that even you feel good enough that he accepted your gratitude? I mean, I'm asking the question, what are you worth? Because you're going to give something strong, right? You're going to give a bull, and some people out there who believe in Messiah, whether they're Christians or Hebrew Israelites, are going to say that in Genesis he offered up a lamb, killed a lamb to clothe Adam and Eve, and that lamb was a sacrifice. It doesn't say sheep, it doesn't say lamb. It does not tell you that. That's why I've been saying to you lately, the Torah needs to be redone. It needs to be rewritten. Earth needs a new Torah. There are too many things that are written in a way where it is extremely easy for deception to be slipped in. You see why I say that? You don't understand, right? You think I need to be some kind of have some 26 letters behind my name and teaching in 5 universities to be able to show you these things. No, it's just common sense once you start to think about it and think it through. It's common sense that the greatest book from God, the Torah, and the Torah he used to create the earth and everything and the world and the universe, blah, blah, blah. That great book from God himself cannot be riddled with so many empty spaces and holes in it. where it's as easy for somebody to slip in deception. So that it's written in such simplistic ways that you can just pull off a deception that he killed a sheep to offer the first sacrifice, which point to Christ. And he did that from the Garden of Eden. You see, it's written in a way where you can slip in all kinds of garbage. Look at the thousands of years it took man to try to learn how to do stuff with DNA and to try to do splicing with trees and so on and whatever. And you see how difficult these things have been? Now, when they finally get it, they wreak havoc on earth. But it took them some serious effort. It don't take anybody to any real long, hard effort to just pick up the Bible and just say, yeah, he offered up a sheep and then took the skin to clothe Adam and Eve. Because there's a hole left right there where you can slip in that so-called interpretation or interpolation. You can slip anything. There are too many holes left, so that the Torah is riddled with these empty spaces or holes where deception can be slipped in. It's way too easy. God does not write a book like that. He doesn't do it. Even in the law, they revamp the laws every now and then. They change, they pass through bills and so on, and they tighten up the laws. Even companies do that, right? They find little loopholes here and there. They don't want to get sued for this, that, and the other, so they clean it up right away. God doesn't try to clean up his book for thousands of years to say people can take advantage of this and deceive my people and deceive the rest of the world. He doesn't know anything. You see why I say the Torah needs to be rewritten? This is not the same kind of glorious book that they told me from I was a child, and especially when I came into the Hebrew Israelite understanding. It is not as glamorous as one thinks. It can be taken down. It can be. It is riddled with too much stuff. And so, what are you really worth? Are you worth just a lamb? A bull maybe because he's bigger? Or are you just worth like a bird, a dove, a pigeon, or something like the equivalent of a bag of flour? Because if they couldn't afford like an animal to bring in the Old Testament, they could give some flour. So you worth just a bag of flour? Is that what you're worth when the sacrifice is dealing with giving something that is so great that it will try to climb up to the level of that which you are trying to attain, the forgiveness from God for saving you from hell for all eternity, or from cutting you off from Jerusalem forever and ever, and from his people forever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. Is a bag of flour going to cut it? What are you worth? So the sacrificial system needs to be brought into questioning. Really. And I'm telling you, when you think of it, I just read the dictionary, this encyclopedia, the Not All Encyclopedia, and it just bam came to me. You see that? I wasn't sitting here studying this for like 5 hours a day. I just read it, and within 1 minute, I'm like, okay, there's a problem right here. Right? So if that's all you're worth, my question to you is it enough for the salvation from God? To stop you from burning hell for all eternity, if you're a Christian? Is you just getting baptized in water enough to stop you from, and to thank your God, or to thank Jesus for saving you from hell for all eternity? Is just washing yourself in water enough? Especially when you're going to go on sinning after you become a Christian. And for the Hebrew Israelite, we know how it is in the Bible, in the Torah, how they kept transgressing and transgressing. So they offer one little sacrifice here and another sacrifice there, and then they got their main sacrifice now at the Day of Atonement once per year. Is that enough? When they have driven the Most High to extreme anger until he sends them into captivity and doesn't even put a date on it, he says, when my anger is complete, then I'll come and rescue you and save you. And you can't hear a word from him since then. All we have are old words. We don't have no fresh, dynamic word coming from God. None. For a couple 1,000 years, looks like he checked out. That might sound harsh, but something needs to rock you and shock you to make you think. What are you worth? Just a bag of flour, or a lamb. People are chopping up lamb all the time and selling it. And you're throwing that lamb in your oven and eating it just like it's nothing. But that is the same price that you pay to the Lord God who is angry at Israel. The same thing people just casually eat that you slap on your table and eat, the cow, the beef, the meat you eat all the time. It's just the same thing you just offer to him in a sacrifice as well. The red heifer. It's like you don't put much more effort into it. The same old thing you eat and make your dinner with, you offer that to him and you say that is giving more than for all that he's going to give to you, to sanctify you and to make you set apart once again and to wipe away your transgressions all again. The same thing you eat. It's kind of like, let me trivialize this some more. It's kind of like you just buying a cone of ice cream, although I don't eat ice cream anymore. But, you know, or it's like just buying a burger or some fries. You know, look at the burger with the meat in it. And it's just the same kind of idea. It's just a piece of meat from the cow. And that's all the same kind of thing you're going to eat that you offer up to the Most High, just like that. It's like you're not trying hard. How about if you go sell your house and you give that to the Most High, if you can find a way to get it to him? Because you found a way to give him the bull and the lamb and the bag of flour. So why you can't find a way to give him the money from the sale of your house? Go sell your house for $200,000, $300,000 and give it to him. That would seem to me to be more costly than the bag of flour you're trying to offer him or the cost of the lamb. Because, let me read it again for you. The sacrifice from this encyclopedia here says, anything of value given away to secure the possession of something of still higher value. Isn't your good standing with the Most High of higher value than your house? So you're just going to offer up a bag of flour or a lamb that costs so much less? If the bag of flour spills while you're trying to use it, half of it falls out on the floor in the kitchen, you don't bother scoop that up. That's just garbage. You sweep that up, throw it out, and you use the rest that's still in the bag. But you can throw it up because it's now, if it was like gold or diamonds, you would scoop that stuff up. But because it's just flour, you don't bother scoop it up to use it again. You throw it out. But the diamonds now, you would scoop them all up and put them back in the container because it's worth more. So if you're going to offer more for something of greater value, like forgiveness from the Most High or forgiveness from sins and so on, you would offer something more than just a lamb, because a lamb is not of a strong enough value like what your house costs. If you don't have a house, then what your car costs, stuff like that. So you see the thinking that has to go into this to see if the Torah is really from the Creator. Then you got to ask yourself in time, who wrote this book of the Torah? Listen, think it through. I am not a learned person at a university level. I never got to go there. But I'm telling you, I spent all my life from a child with this Bible, and I said already I'm going to get my money back from all the Bibles I've purchased over the years and all the time I spent going to Bible college and all that kind of stuff. Not get it back in the sense of somebody's going to reimburse me for the Bibles that I bought and paid for, but get it back in terms of being able to get something back that I count of strong value to make it worth the time that I spent with it all these years from as a child. And that comes by teaching and sharing these views to let people think. Because people should come to understanding for themselves. So now, when looking at what you're worth, look at this here. I want to read from the New Testament from Jesus. Matthew chapter 10. And let's look at verse 29 and 30 or 31. This is Jesus speaking now. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing? And one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear ye not, therefore, ye are of more value than many sparrows. You have more value, he said, than many sparrows. So your value is more than the birds, he's saying. Let's run over now to Matthew 6, verse 26, which is similar kind of stuff, but I still want to read it here. Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? So what are you worth? You're not worth as much as the birds? And if you believe in the Messiah, whether you're in the Christian church or Hebrew Israelite camp, you still believe in the Messiah. You might call him different names, but you still believe in this so-called Messiah from Calvary. So are you not worth more than the birds? Yet you're going to only offer a bird according to Old Testament Levitical law, if that's all you can offer? You're going to offer a bag of flour? The real offering can never be an animal, a lamb, a bull, a bird, or some flour. The offering is you. You are the sacrifice. And no high priest in Israel should have been killing you. You are the sacrifice, and you do that by living right on the earth before the Creator. You are the sacrifice. It costs you so much because of what you value about the Most High, or the God of Israel, or the Creator, however you want to call him right here. You value a right relationship with him and the thankfulness of life and not cutting you off and so on. You value that so much that you give your life as a sacrifice in his service, or by living on this earth the way he wants you to do. By the laws that are set in creation, and some of them obviously are in the Torah, but sometimes obviously the Torah goes way too far, like as in this case here, telling you to do this to the animals and the flour and so on. No, you are the actual sacrifice. You. That's why I don't understand how you have to kill the sacrifice. The sacrifice should live. So killing a bull or a bird, no, you're offering something dead unto God, to the God of Israel. Dead. And the same problem with Calvary. This Jesus Messiah had to die, so he is a dead gift unto God. That don't help you. The sacrifice should be alive when he gets it. Now that is a real gift. You are the sacrifice, and while you remain alive, you live unto him in a way that is better living on the earth, so that the Creator looks and say, it was good that I made man. Because when men corrupted their way, like in Genesis 6, he said in the flood, he said all flesh have corrupted their way, so he's going to kill them. So killing comes as a result of corruption. Judgment comes as a result of corruption. So when things are dying like that in a relationship with God, you got to check yourself and wonder, is there some bad stuff going on here, some corruption or some evil or some wickedness? But if something is alive unto God, if they were living alive unto God in Noah's time, he wouldn't have killed people and wiped out the earth. He would have been more than happy to keep them alive and let the trees and fruits and plants and everything flourish. They weren't willing to live as a living sacrifice. And your own New Testament says something like that, a living sacrifice unto God. So why can't you believe it? Because it hasn't been presented to you like this in your teachings that you receive. But I'm presenting it here now. Present yourself, because I used to remember it from the Christian church. I don't remember where it is now. It sounds like Hebrews or maybe Romans, but I don't know. It sounds like something from Paul anyway. Present your bodies as a living sacrifice. You hear that? A living sacrifice, which is acceptable unto God. Because the dead sacrifice, that's like a big insult. A big insult. Remember, the Creator is looking for life. He gives life. He created life, right? He's about life. Death is some kind of consequence for something. You don't give back the Creator death. You give him back life because you're reflecting what he gave to you, and you're reflecting what he is about. He is about life. And remember that verse that says he gave Ethiopia and Seba for thee, talking about Israel. You see, that's what you really are worth. Even as Israel, he says, I gave Ethiopia and Seba for thee. He's given a whole nation for you because that's what you are worth so much. Like Jesus asking, are you not worth more than the birds? And so the Creator is showing you that he thinks so much of you that he'll give an entire nation. And look at the book of Isaiah and the later chapters of Isaiah, where he's saying he's going to go through and what he's going to do to Edom and the other nations that come against my people and so on. And in Jeremiah 30 and 31, the different nations are going to get judged on whatever my people will be slaves no more. You see what he's doing? Because you are worth so much to him, he'll give up nations for you again, who are oppressing his people, Israel, who went into captivity. Because that's what you are worth to him. You are worth so much. But he to you isn't worth much more than believing in an ancient sacrificial system that says you can just bring a bag of flour, or you can kill a lamb and give him a dead lamb, who, based on what it's sold for, just price value alone, isn't worth as much as some of you guys' TV. You get some big TV plastered on the wall, and you buy a lamb for $100 or $200. And your TV costs $1,000, $3,000. And you just give the Creator the little less, like you didn't put much thought into it. Because what he's going to give to you and who he is and what he's about is not worth that much to you, as even what your TV cost. And some of you paid for even extra warranty on it. But look at this here in Zechariah 2 verse 8. For thus saith the Lord of hosts, after his glory sent me to the nations who plundered you, for he who touches you touches the apple of his eye. You see what he thinks of Israel? Apple of his eye. That's how much he thinks he values you so much. But you think the same lamb that you're going to eat is the same one you'll just give him. Because that's just what... The bull that's running outside and pushing and carrying your load and dragging your stuff in the field, you chop him up, you wash him off nice, and you chop him up and you give him to the Lord on High Holy Day, Day of Atonement. After you slaved and worked him down to his bones, you wash him to make him look nice and clean, and now you say he's holy. And you're going to chop up that to the Lord and still eat some of it and say eating it before the Lord. It's like you don't put that much value into it, right? So something seems strange with this sacrificial system. Proverbs 7 verse 2, keep my commandments and live. Again, I'm telling you, dealing with the Most High is about life. Dealing with the Most High from the New Testament is also about life. So how can you have a dead Christ on a cross? But he says, keep my teaching as the apple of your eye. What you are worth to the Most High is so much that no sacrifice on Calvary that is dead can be offered. Because remember, he had to die for the offering to be made. So he's offering death to the Creator. But the Creator, or the God of Israel, and they might very well be different, but we know the Torah works already, makes them look like they're the same. The Most High wants life out of you, because the death of Israel is a punishment, so he sent him to be slaughtered, so the Torah says. But notice when he says he's going to come and save you, what is he doing? He's saving you, he's rescuing you from your enemies. And what does he want? He wants life. I'll put my spirit in you again, read the book of Joel 2 and 3. Right? And he's coming to save you, and he's going to increase you in your latter end and so on. He wants life, a living people. That's a life unto him. life. So when he gets on the move to deal with you, to save you, which is your salvation, he wants life. He pumps new life into you. He revives you. But when you get to deal with him for salvation or for your transgressions and so on, you give him death. You kill an animal, you kill a bird, and you kill his son on Calvary. It just does not make any sense. You gotta shake the stuff up, think about it. But what are you worth? If the sacrifice has to do with giving something way more than you would normally deal with in regular day-to-day life, you wouldn't give away those things normally. But because this is such an important thing, dealing with the Most High, for your gratitude and thankfulness, you're going to give him something like a superior value in your life. You're not going to give him just any old thing, the lamb that's running around outside, that if it wasn't the next holiday, you would have killed it and eat it. Are you just worth what they taught you? That you think a lamb is enough? A bird is enough? A bag of flour is enough? A dead man on a cross is enough? Are you worth all these different things on the high holy day when you must sacrifice? Or is that sacrifice going on in your heart all the time while you continue to live, so that you are a living sacrifice that the Creator can watch and be pleased with on the earth? You are worth more than all those things, because you, living a righteous life, is the real, true sacrifice that is worth more than anything else they ever taught you about. I ask you, think of it. What are you worth?